Hi everybody, Kirsty from Lifting Consciousness here. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to a new series of podcasts that I am starting to get back up and going on my channel again. And today I've actually got a special guest with me. So this is a friend of mine actually, who is a fellow spiritual worker, if I can use that term. So Jessica May, psychic medium. You may have heard of her. We are both two halves of soul consciousness. So if you've seen any of our content over there, that's what we do. But I thought I would invite Jess on this podcast because there's some things I want to get her views on, really. So we'll come to that in a bit. And also Jess has got something absolutely fabulous for autumn that she's offering for her healing hut. So I want to cover that because there may be some of you out there that want to take part of that. But first of all, I want to introduce Jess. So for those of you that don't know Jess, I'm going to let you know the many things to her spiritual bow. I have the card here, Jess, because there's many things. There's many things. And I've got my water in case I need to take a drink in between. So Jess has been featured in a couple of magazines. So Spirit and Destiny and Soul and Spirit magazine, writing columns for them. She is, of course, a psychic medium, as her name suggests, tarot and oracle card reader, mediumship and trance that she does as well, Reiki healer, animal communicator, hypnotherapist, equine, if I pronounce that right, facilitated therapist. You also have a spiritual learning academy, and you are the owner of Hubble Bubble Brews and Soul of Equus Healing. Take a breath. Yeah. So there is a lot there. And of course, we do that collaborative work on soul consciousness that we're trying to actually do podcasts over there on certain topics where we can dive deep. We're both intuitive readers. But before I get into the topics for today, Jess, I wanted to kind of hand the mic over to you, really, because I was interested in the hypnotherapy that you do. So can you give a bit of a, detail on what you do with the hypnotherapy?
Yeah, so because I work with Reiki mainly, I tend to incorporate hypnosis with Reiki healing and call it hypnoki. So it's literally combining the two together. And this came about more so during the lockdown, because obviously people couldn't really venture out. So people wanted Reiki, but they also were being triggered by a lot of the stuff that was coming up, and anxiety was through the roof with a lot of people. So I put together a little package of working people through hypnotherapy, but also giving them distant Reiki at the same time. And so when you put this together over Zoom or Skype, it was just really good because you're not going that deep, but you're going deep enough to work through the process, working through what you've got blocked, what may be triggering you. And a lot of people were like, oh, that was really quick. And then like, no, that was 2 hours. So it goes by really fast, but you're literally healing yourself with the hypnoki. And that is kind of what hypnosis is as well. Although I'm talking to you, you're healing yourself. And so the Reiki that comes in with it just helps to clear whatever may have come up. So it was really quite exciting to put that together during a lockdown, during when everything was quite negative.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you do sort of past life regression as part of that? That's just a little question to throw in there, really.
Yes, I do. I don't do it on a large scale like some people do it with groups of people. I think for me it works best to do it on a one-to-one basis because of what comes up. If it's quite traumatic, as I've experienced on a personal scale myself, it's really difficult when you've got everybody else around you listening in. So for me, I just think, do it on a one-to-one basis. But I did one not that long ago, just the other week actually, and it was really interesting what come up, and it was so relevant as well. So wow.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. So, of course, as I mentioned, there's many things that Jess offers as part of her services, as well as having, the Hubble Bubble Brews as well, which we will come on to a bit later when we talk about the autumnal sort of offer that's there in your healing hut. And you are in your healing hut as we're talking now on this podcast. And I said to Jess before I started to record here that my background looks very boring compared to Jess's. I'm the typical blank canvas writer that's sort of, let's start with a blank page, and Jess has just got it all there. But it's amazing because it's so warm, and I've been in the healing hut myself. It's very warm and cozy. So, there's fairy lights, which you can't see, but there are fairy lights in there. So I love that. Now let's go to the topic for today, because this is of course my first podcast on this channel for a while. It's like a reinvigoration of them. I wanted to kickstart them again, but to do them in more of a bite-sized fashion, for people. Rebirth seemed an obvious choice because it's almost like a rebirth of the podcast, but also there is that rebirth and transformation aspect to what's going on at the moment, and has been for some time, because we've been going through significant transformation, haven't we? So there's that element. And also I wanted to kind of bring self-love into it, because I believe, and this is where my Pisces mind gets in a bit of a like this, because I feel that self-love, when we can kind of honor our own sovereignty and our truth, that naturally brings about transformation. But in turn, if transformation and all of that's happening around us, that sometimes forces us to go in and then give ourselves that self-love. So I wanted to get your views on that, Jess. In terms of a concept, I mean, are we sometimes forced into having to give ourselves self-love, I suppose, because of transformation that's going on around us?
Yeah, I think it's more relevant for those who are awake and on the spiritual path. But it's just as important for anyone who isn't. And it's just simply recognizing when you need to do it and not feeling guilty about it. And I think this is something that has come up a lot this year for people. Like, obviously we've not had a lockdown in 2022, but we feel like we need to be doing things now, making up for the past 2 years, because everything got put on hold. So as soon as we feel like our mental health is a bit too much, it feels as though we've got to just deal with it and not stop. Because the moment we stop, it's almost like we're going, oh, we're putting ourselves back into lockdown, we're isolating ourselves, we shouldn't be doing that. But no, sometimes we do just need to do us, and we just need to do our own, as I've been saying to you, a personal lockdown, especially this month. So it really does help. We've had 2 years of it. We know what to do. We know we can do it. We know we can cope with it. And sometimes just a day out or a week out is all you need. Even if you're going to work, just shut yourself off in the evening, have you time. It doesn't have to be an all-dayer. It could just be a couple of hours that you're regathering yourself, because I would say it's quite difficult to try and time or give yourself time. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I do feel strongly about that as well, and I'm not the best person of following that advice, as you know, and I'm trying to do that more and more, because being an empath also, as you feel, it's very easy, even when you're out for an hour amongst other people, you can absorb quite a lot of the energy that's going on. Now, there may be people that they don't feel that because maybe they're not awake as such, to use that term, and they might not even know, but they might be feeling off in some ways, but they don't know that it's because of that. So I think it's still the same advice, isn't it? It's making sure they're having a bit of if they're not feeling right in whatever way, energetically, within mental health, however it is, to definitely do that and to give back to ourselves. So I was quite sort of keen. I think we covered on a previous Instagram live back however many months ago, self-love in terms of what you do to give back to yourself. I mean, I'm quite an advocate of a salt bath, put some bubble bath in there, candles on, get it going, music. So how about yourself?
Yeah, salt baths for me, I just love them. And a friend of mine actually does make bath bombs with crystals in. Ooh. And they're vegan bath bombs, really good for the skin. So yeah, they're just amazing. It's Witches Valley, and I just put them on, and it is like being hugged in the bath, because obviously she puts her magic into it.
Yes.
I love the smell. But I suppose for me, going out in nature, as you know, I'm quite a nature person, especially when it gets to this time of year, autumn. I just want to be in the woods. I just want to be around the scent of the leaves changing. I love it. And obviously having dogs, you can just go for miles, and they love it as well. So for me, that's probably good self-love. And I do isolate myself a lot. Probably shouldn't, but energy can be quite overwhelming. So sometimes I do just shut off in the hut, do a little bit of drawing, or light some candles, connect to some crystals, and write, because I do a lot of channeled writing. But yeah, it's the same as you. Lately I don't seem to be giving myself self-love. I've got the time, but I haven't been giving it to myself. So yeah.
And do you feel that might be because of just how the energies are at the moment, that there is that sense of reserving our energy because of being of service, of course, and being empathic to others, but just generally because we're also trying to navigate through the energies. So it's almost like there is that confusion out there as well of, am I meant to be giving back to myself, or am I meant to be offering love to someone else? So that can be causing some confusion within.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the energy right now, as you know, I've got a migraine at this moment in time, and I've had it since, well, I basically did a psychic fair, and that took me a couple of days to get over. And that, I haven't done psychic fairs for some time now because of the energy. And given the week we had last week, energy was very full on the Sunday when I was reading for people, and I experienced a lot of emotion, more emotion than I've experienced before in psychic fairs. And I came away completely drained, and it took me 2 or 3 days. And then I felt all right. And then Thursday, I just had a massive headache, and it stayed with me ever since. I can't shift it. But trying to do that self-love aspect, I'm finding it really difficult, because I can't just, I could just sit and be, but I feel really bad about doing it. So I haven't completely unwound. I haven't completely relaxed. And I don't know about how you feel, but it's like, I feel like I don't know where to put myself. I'm a bit like on edge. I know something's coming. I know something's going to happen. But I don't know where to put, like, even when we were doing this, setting up, I was like, where am I going to put the camera? I
know. Yeah, it does feel frantic. I will say that. I mean, we're recording this on the 14th of September. So, just in case anybody watches this, way down the line, but 14th of September 2022, and yes, the energy is that of franticness. And you mentioned about you picking up on the energy from being at that fair, and obviously, we're not going to go into it on here, but of course certain events in the UK over the past few days, I picked up on that afternoon, if you remember, my ears, I messaged you because I'm like, my ears are muffled. I don't know what's going on. Something's going to happen. Then the big announcement came, and I felt the wave of emotion from the country almost. It was bizarre. It was just, I've never felt anything like that. So I can relate on that level, definitely. And of course, this is also bringing about transformation, isn't it? It is bringing about a rebirth. So it's very timely for that. But yes, we need to remember the self-love. And I wanted to make sure I didn't forget this question to ask you. So this could go a bit deep. So is self-love more important than receiving love from another?
Oh.
In your opinion? In your opinion, it could be equal to, but
I think it is, to be honest, because not that I've had any great relationships in the past to get enough love from, but I think if you can love and honor and cherish yourself, those past relationships I've had, I'm not going to make those same mistakes again. So I know what I want from a relationship, and I know how I deserve to be respected and loved in a relationship now, whereas perhaps back then I didn't, because I wasn't really self-loving at all, didn't feel I deserved it. So for me, yeah, self-love's amazing, because I could walk into a crystal shop and be like, I need that crystal, and I'm inspired to myself. Or, you know, I can just treat myself whenever I want, and I feel like that is for me, because in some way I deserve it. Whereas when you're in a relationship, I don't know whether it's a case you just expect to be loved, and that can sometimes be a block, because if they're not loving you in the way that you want to be loved, like you may have a day where you just want to be really clingy, and they're like, no, that can then make you feel quite bad about yourself when all you need is just a cuddle. And they would be the days, I would say, that you do have to give something back to yourself. Why do you feel the need to be clingy? Why do you feel the need to have that nurture? What's going on within you? And I think when you start working through all that, you recognize when your inner child needs you, not an external person to give back, if that makes any sense.
Definitely. Certainly makes sense to me, because I know there is that saying of it all starts from within, because we need to be replenishing that cup within, don't we, in order to be able to give love, but also to accept the love back as well. And I wanted to pose this to the viewers, actually. So, you know, anybody watching out there, do you actually take the time to give back to you? Because it's interesting when you're faced with that question, because quite often it's oh no, I don't, I don't. But it could just be as simple as, like Jess was saying earlier, being out in nature, or having a salt bath, or just taking that moment. I mean, for me, listening to sound healing can help as well. Just being in a meditation, sort of in that quiet introspection, watching comedy so that you're laughing, not watching something that's going to make me cry, watching something that's going to make me laugh. It's simple little things like that quite often we're too busy, or there's other things going on, there's other demands for our attention, and it's so much easier to give to someone else than to ourselves. That's what I feel as an empath. Do you agree with that, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah. So it's very, when you've got that innate sense of wanting to give, and of course in the work that we do as well, we want to be of service to others. So that is a natural thing. So it's great. It's a positive. But in doing that, we also need to recognize that we need to be at that best level to do that. So yeah, that's why really it's important for us, but it's important for everybody, I would say. Absolutely. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to say in terms of transformation, because I know this is about that rebirth, transformation, closing out of old cycles, moving into new cycles. And I've certainly had to go through a lot of that recently, and it can be painful, it can be challenging, because you're almost having to really pull off some layers that are thick and ingrained, that could have been there for years, and it's like, nope, not serving me, cut that off, that sort of thing. How do you feel about that? Because I'm sure you've been going through that on your journey as well, and lots of people out there have been doing that, in their lives.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I always say to people, we are part of nature. So the moment we start to sense that nature is changing, and for me, the autumn energies came in around July time, mid-July. That's where I could just get that smell in the air that, oh yeah, summer's beginning to leave and autumn's coming in. And that, I would say, for a lot of people was a time when change started to happen. We had the Cancerian energy around that time, and the Leo, and that's quite a big element change to go from water into fire. You've got to learn to come back up and dry yourself off almost, and rise up as the fire. And then we've gone into like this earth element, and people feel stuck, they feel very stagnant, because it's like, oh, what now? But Virgo does actually give us that time to reflect, and gives us time to perhaps even rebuild. And I would say the whole year is a foundation year. And I think because we didn't really have what we were meant to have as a foundation year during 2020. It got put on hold, and then it got put on hold again in 21. And this year it's happening again. We're going through the foundation year, but this means we're starting to process a lot of stuff that happened in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. So when you combine 3 years of crap, shall we say, together, that's a lot for someone to process. And who we were in 2019, we're not that person anymore. And that's something I've struggled with. You know, you've seen me change my hair color from brown to blonde, and I don't even know if I'm happy at blonde. I don't know if I'm happy in myself at the moment. I don't even like my glasses, and I've had to change my glasses because the frame that I would normally have, they don't make the lenses that shape for them anymore. So they, for me, were my signature look. You know, I always wear glasses. So my little frames that I had, that was my signature look. And now I've got these big ones. And for me, I just don't feel they suit me, but I had to go with it because nothing else suited me. And so I think there's a sort of like that message that's coming in for the year. Like you may feel that something's not suiting you, but work through it. You know, I have to make this look work because I got to wear it every day. I've got to try and think, okay, this is my new identity. I've got to go with that. But it's still not quite who I am. So I'm still in that process of shedding who I was, finding myself again. I'm doing a lot more fitness work as well. Like pretty much every single day, there's something going on when I'm at the gym or doing a fitness class. And then for me, that's really helpful because it's kind of who I was before the lockdown. I was going to the gym quite a bit and very active. Then the lockdown happened, and as an empath, and I think you felt it as well, that energy of just being stuck, the fear, it hit us, and the weight went on. And I don't associate with myself at the moment. I'm just like, I don't know who I am. So this is just a whole process. Even if you are spiritually awakened, like myself and Kirsty, we go through it. We really do go through it. And this, what we're in now, the final part of 22, we are going to have to go through some deep wound healing to come out the other side, because autumn, for me, it's almost as powerful as spring, because Southern Hemisphere, they have got spring energy.
Yes.
And we've got autumn. And for me, these are the two biggest seasons that we have, because massive shifts and changes happen. Nature's really got to transform, turn all the trees from green into browns and yellows and reds, and then die, or it looks like that.
Yes.
You know, all the leaves fall off.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh. So we've got to find ourselves again. You know, we've got to think this is a rebirth, and we'll come back in the spring and be fresh and reawakened. So never fear it, and don't fear the winter, because hibernation is sometimes where we have that transformation. You know, we come out, this is who I want to be, you know, and we spread our wings in the spring.
Absolutely, yeah. And with that autumn where you said about the leaves and everything and they're falling, and that just makes me think of a release as well, isn't it? Because it is that natural release. So, and the shedding again, the shedding of the layers, and definitely in order to, and I think there is fear at the moment because of maybe over the past couple of years what people have had to face in their own realities, which has kind of almost kick-started their transformation, and at whatever stage in life that they are, you know, and it's like, oh, now I've got to kind of deal with this, and that can be freaky, that can be uncertain. And in the collective, of course, because we know that will manifest out into the collective, so the collective energy feels heavy, or it feels dense. So obviously when we're doing readings, etc., we can pick up on that because it's a collective thing as well.
Absolutely.
So it is about embracing the change, isn't it, and holding on to that sovereignty within, which is the self-love aspect as well, to navigate through the transformation.
Yeah.
Very powerful. And I always think, and this is a bit of a segue to my next thing to pose to you, because I want to go into sort of tarot a little bit. So, of course, when I think of the major arcana relating to death and rebirth, it's the death card. Or in the Lightseers Tarot, it is actually death and rebirth, which I think is beautiful. How it's depicted. Yeah. So that's really, really powerful. But also, I think of the star energy because of the rebirth and renewal that can come from that. So it's Scorpio and Aquarius energy. So it's almost that getting to the depths of what really needs to transform and to go through that rebirth process and then be almost liberated into your own individuality, which is the Aquarian side. You know, your uniqueness, you know, it's that freak or unique thing. It's that your uniqueness is beautiful, and it's allowing that transformation into that. So with that being said, and I also think of the Ace of Cups as well with self-love sometimes. Yeah. With that being said, with Major Arcana Tarot, because of course, yes, we're both intuitive readers, we use tarot, we use divination tools within the readings as directed by spirit. Is there a favorite Major Arcana tarot card of yours? What is your favorite Major Arcana tarot card and why?
So mine, from ever since I was a child, I've absolutely loved the Sun. The Sun card for me is always the one, because it's about freedom for me, liberation and escaping. My favorite flower has always been a sunflower. So it's the perfect card because it's got the horse in, which I'm really connected to horses. Yes. It's got that element of freedom, and it's got the sunflowers. And yeah, I suppose for me, it's always been about escape. And I didn't like school. I don't think many children do. But for me, seeing that card, it was always like, oh, one day I'll have the freedom to do whatever I want to do. And I suppose I had always, from a child, I always had this idea that I'd live in the woods or something. And it's not too
yeah, you're close. Yeah,
I'm very close.
Yeah.
I don't know what in hat.
That's right. In the countryside. Yeah. But no, it is definitely that almost expression of truth as well, isn't it? That kind of emanates with that sun energy of like, I am me, this is who I am, and the freedom. Yeah, so I get that as well. I think for me, I mean, I like quite a few of them, and if I'm being biased with the Pisces energy, it's the High Priestess, because of that reminder of the intuition and the power of the intuition. But I do like the Wheel as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, especially when I see it in the upright, because I also read reversals, but it's that sort of nod to movement. It's like progress. There is something happening, even if it doesn't feel like it. It depends what other cards come out, of course, with it. But there is that sense of the wheel is turning, needs to turn in your favor, but it's a positive thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's your Major Arcana. So with tarot as well, so anyone not familiar with that who might be watching us, there's also 4 elements that are focused on within the suits. So we've got the water with the cups, we've got the earth with the pentacles, we've got the air with the swords, and we've got the wands, which is the fire energy. So what's your favorite suit or suite of cards within the elements, and why?
I suppose because I'm an air sign, it should be swords, but for me
with cups, with me,
get rid of everything. But I think, to be honest, I like the cups because doing soul therapy work, I can really relate to the cups. You know, you get your cup of abundance being the ace, and then doing twin flame work and you see the 2 of cups come out. That's always quite exciting. And 3 of cups for me is that celebration and friendship connection. And I think, to be honest, I go through more of those emotion stuff to relate to the cups. You know, when you think it's about walking away from things that no longer emotionally serve you, trying to find better perspective, especially with the 5 of cups. I always look at that and think, I think sometimes we can always look at what's been lost or think, oh, too much water has gone under the bridge. But actually, if we look behind, we've got that Two of Cups again, you know? So it's always saying that love can be found all the time. And even the Eight of Cups, I think, is a great card, because you're just walking away and thinking, this isn't serving me, but I'm going to walk and find my Two of Cups to complete the deck, you know?
That's right. That's, so
absolutely.
A bit like you with saying, because you're an air sign, the swords energy, so water signs, so I'm drawn to the cups energy for that reason, but also because I am a bit of a hopeless romantic, I suppose. I like the cups energy, I like the feel of that. But and certainly with swords, there's one card in the swords deck, you'll know which one it is, because I'm not a fan of it at all. Seven of Swords. When that comes out, I don't like that one. But I do like the fact it can bring truth. You know, there is truth and expression to the swords. I guess if I was aspiring to a suit or suite of cards, it may be the Wands, because that's all about kind of having the courage to go after what you want. Admittedly, the Pentacles, stability and everything, but having the courage to actually take the action to go after what you want is good. And one that's been coming out a lot is the Ten of Wands, which is dropping that burden. So again, cycle closeouts, but to enable you to then move in the direction, you know, that you need to go in. So definitely that sort of fiery energy of getting things moving. It's not so much where I'm maybe comfortable with in my own. I'm more of that emotional feeling into things. But if I'm aspiring to one as a kind of, I like that, it would probably be the Wands, the fire energy. So final one with the tarot questions for you. In tarot, we've obviously got people cards. We've got the Page, the Knight, the King, the Queen, of each of those suits, of each of those suites. So do you have a favourite?
As I think about it, I do tend to like the Knights in the cards, probably because they've got the horse. But I like the calmer ones, like Knight of Swords just looks chaotic, can't be doing with that energy. So maybe Knight of Cups, you know, because it's the white horse, it's all about emotional healing and fulfillment. And I quite like the background that tends to come with that one as well. But Knights can be quite cheeky, like Knight of Wands is that Casanova energy, isn't it? It's that passion and you know, just deep romance. But I think especially in the Starseer one, that's a pretty fit Knight of Cups.
I was thinking of that when you said about it. In fact, I've got the Lightseers deck here. I might try and find it. But I've got it straight away. Look at that.
Look, that is.
Can you see that? It. I mean, that's very much the romantic kind of, I've got my flowers, I want to give you, you know, my cup of love and all of that. I do like that as well.
I mean, he's even put on a picnic. That's what every girl wants.
And there is a letter as well. So that's obviously a love letter. I like it. But with the horse as well in the background, definitely. And that's a beautiful deck. We've both got that deck. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely. So that's interesting there. So you like the Knights, either the messengers or the movement kind of concept behind it as well. For me, because I was thinking about this beforehand, again, Queen of Cups comes in because it's that lead with your heart, that sovereign being, lead with your heart. But if I'm being truthful, Queen of Swords, because she cuts through the BS to get to the truth.
She does.
So it's almost like no nonsense with her. It's kind of like that, I'm going to get the truth, and I ain't afraid, I'm going to speak my mind as well. So that's quite a role model, you know, in that sense of a person card in there, I think. I mean, obviously all of the sovereign beings are there, they're leaders in their own right, but cutting through to the heart of the matter with the truth, with the clarity, I like that. So that was just a bit of fun. I thought that was quite good. And do you actually have a favorite tarot deck? I mean, I know we said the Lightseers tarot, is that your favorite, or do you have any others?
Yeah, I suppose when I do, because I've actually got it here, like when I do actual readings for clients, I do tend to use the light seers. I have got traditional tarot, like the Rider-Waite ones, but I tend to keep them for myself because I've had that deck since I was like a teenager. I've had it for quite a long time before my mum knew. She didn't know I bought that deck. So yeah, and I used to take it to school with me and do a few readings there. But I suppose it would be the light seers, just because it's bright, it's fresh, and I really do connect with those cards. The other deck I like, and when you talk about truth, I don't know if you've got it, it's called the Hoodoo Tarot.
No, I haven't got that one.
They look quite dark, and not a lot of people will touch them because it's a bit like, oh, you know, what are we messing with? But they actually do tell a story, and they've got characters in that tarot deck that were real life characters and real life stories. But if I want the truth, I go to that deck, and it's like it gives it to me straight away, and it is quite a powerful deck, I would say. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you don't want to know something, like wholeheartedly, we're not going to ask that deck.
I might have to hit you up after for a reading, Jess.
Well, you know,
want to know the truth. Definitely. Oh dear. And that's it. I mean, I find the same. Light seer is beautiful. As soon as I got that deck, I mean, I saw another reader using it, and I was like, whoa, I love those images. I fell in love with it. I love using it, but I have got other ones, and it depends on. I'll do my little shuffle and see how the energy feels, and then I'll go with that. But I do like the light seers, definitely. So I've got some quick fire questions for you to round off the podcast at the end. But before we get to those, because that's just a little bit of fun for us at the end, and hopefully for entertainment for people watching. But before I do, there's a very important offer that Jess has for autumn. And of course, we are getting closer into the autumn. Some might say it's even autumn at the moment because it does feel like we are. But Jess, do you want to take it away with what you've got in your healing hut this autumn?
Yeah, so it's a whole afternoon with me, 1 o'clock to 5 p.m, or maybe a little bit longer depending on the weather. So this is a afternoon in the healing hut. It's an autumnal retreat. And in this particular hut, in the corner, which you can't see at the minute, I've got a lovely little fireplace, and I'll get that going. So it's all going to be cozy. There'll be fur blankets, everything's soft. But in this particular afternoon, you get Reiki, an aura cleanse. You also get a reading, a cacao ceremony, and deep meditation. And we'll go for a lovely woodland walk. And I will say to you, it does not matter whether it's raining, whatever the weather, we will be out there, because whatever the weather that is meant for you that day, if it's raining, then it's obvious that for the autumn energies, you need a cleanse. If it's sunny, maybe you need to be recharged. And if it's cloudy, you just might need to just be. So it's a real good session. It's a whole just afternoon, just you and me in the healing hut, for a special price of £111. 111.
111, definitely. So there's that alignment there. Perfect. But absolutely, all of that for that price is just an amazing offer. And I mean, cozy, you know, coziness in the hut. I mean, that is just amazing, absolutely amazing. I love the woodland walk aspect as well, because of course, with you being in Gloucestershire, I'm also in Gloucestershire. We're not so far away from each other, but having that countryside on the doorstep to be able to go out into nature is amazing for you to offer that as part of it as well. Now, if anybody is not from the area, but they're thinking, that sounds awesome, I really want to do that, but I'm not near where Jess is, where the healing hut is there anything that can be on offer for them?
Yes, and I forgot to mention as well, everyone that books, you actually do get a little goodie bag as well, which is sponsored by Hubble Bubble Prints.
Awesome.
So that offer of getting the free goodie bag will also be available to anybody at long distance. So you could book in for a hypnoki session, and that could be for 2 hours, it could be an hour. But if you want more information on hypnoki, you can find that on my website, jessicamaepsychicmedium.co.uk. And if you book a session, I will send you out a little goodie bag, again sponsored by Hubble Bubble Brews, and it will just contain some teas, it will contain some face masks, not the ones that cover you completely, the ones that are fresh. And yeah, it'll be a little surprise in there for you, full of the autumn energies and just stuff to get you by. So I think for everyone, it's a little bit of self-love that comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. It's dedicating that time to yourself. And I know, like, people say financially things are difficult at the moment. It is, but at the end of the day, people can still find that money to spend on mundane things they don't actually need. Whereas think about this, you're spending that money to have a private afternoon to yourself, having healing, working through your emotions. Because although it sounds like we're just working through either hypnosis or working through like doing Reiki and reading, and it sounds all fun, to be honest, when you're adding a cacao ceremony, it can be very emotional and very heavy. And the walk aspect of it is just to clear your emotions afterwards, because, you know, things do come up, things will come out. And being a therapist, I listen and we discuss and we will talk, and that is part of your healing, you know. And it will be could be quite a heavy afternoon. You might go away thinking, God, I'm glad to be away from there, I can go home and sleep for now. But you may also just feel very refreshed, like that is just what you need to clear and be ready for the autumn. And I've said it to a lot of people, maybe treat yourself as a Christmas present, you know, early Christmas present, because I'm not doing Christmas this year with people. I've decided to not do it. We don't need it. It's more about being with family and maybe just giving each other one little gift and have lots of food or have lots of people together to celebrate. Because over the past 2 years, we have really lost people that we can't bring back. And we've gone through so much that don't worry about doing Christmas. That's what I think, we need to put that out there. Don't worry about doing Christmas. Just worry about doing you.
Yeah, it's a good point, because a lot of it's gone quite material, you know, that way, hasn't it? And you know, you're absolutely right, because it's all about those that you are connected to and you can share that love with, because that's important, definitely. But that's a fantastic deal, Jess, and of course I'll put the details in the description box so people can click on that and they can find Jess at the various sites that you have to get in contact. So you're taking bookings at the moment, are you, for these sessions?
Yeah, they'll run throughout the week, so Monday to Friday, or usually about probably Tuesday to Friday on those days. But yeah,
great. Fabulous. Well, we'll certainly get that out in the description box and check it out. And obviously, if you need to message Jess because you're not sure or you want to find out a bit more about it, I'm sure Jess would welcome the inquiries. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
No worries. Right. Well, let's get on to the fun bit of the quick fire questions.
Yes.
Okay. So I've written them down so I don't forget them. This is just for a bit of fun, really, just so that you can all get an insight into what Jess likes, you know, what she prefers. So I'm going to read out some things. I want you to tell me what you prefer out of each, okay? So it's quick fire. So starting with tarot or oracle cards.
Ooh. I'm going to go with tarot. Straight to the point with that one. Tarot gets you straight in on it. No fluffy.
Yeah, oracles can be a bit fluffy, can't they? Shower or salt bath?
Oh, salt bath, but with a glass of gin.
Candles or incense?
Candles, because I've got so many. I love them. I just love candles.
Summer or autumn? I think I know the answer to this one.
Autumn, Stevie Nicks season.
Autumn all the way. Sage or Palo Santo?
Palo Santo. I love Palo Santo smell. It's so pure.
Okay, this is not a choice, but what's your favorite crystal?
Lemurian.
Okay. This might get you here. Hubble Bubble Brew tea or cacao and blankie?
Cacao and blankie, because it's the right season now.
Yes.
Although like the teas are good for the season, cacao is just, you get the blankie in that. Yeah,
it's that coochie feeling. Mega cake or mega crisps?
Mega cake.
That's my way of asking you sweet or savory, but with a mega theme to it. So mega cake, yeah?
Absolutely.
All right, mega cake or mega pint?
Mega cake. Again.
Mega cake. Yeah, because I do have to just say I have got my beaker.
Yeah.
For that one. And all right, favorite song of the moment?
What do you mean, like what's out at the minute in the charts, or?
No, just your favorite song at the moment that you might like to listen to over and over again, or it gives you the feels when you listen to it over and over again.
Oh, I think this is going to have to be Elvis, If I Can Dream, because although that song was out in the 70s, I suppose it was 60s, what isn't it, 68, it's very relevant today. It's the most relevant song that I think's ever been written.
I love that song. That's one of my favorite Elvis songs, and I don't know many of his songs, but that one is I do like that one. That's lovely. That's the end of the quick fire. I mean, I could have gone on, obviously, but that gives a bit of an insight. So are there any last words from you, Jess, that you want to say to anybody watching that might want to find out more about your services and what you can offer and how you can help people during this time of retrograde season, bringing up a lot of things to be revisited?
Yeah, I mean, Mercury retrogrades are not good anyway for a lot of people. For me in particular, it tends to affect my car. And I've got a lot of problems going on there at the moment. But I think if you want to find out what is going on with you or what's going to come up for the autumn season, this is the perfect time to be booking in for a reading, because as the month goes on, I start to offer different types of readings. Some people may have noticed I've started to put up witch readings, and there will also be nature readings as well. So we get to have a look at what the autumn season is really bringing in. And I tend to use, I use cards, but I will also use elements of nature, may even use crystals to do a reading as well, because the message doesn't necessarily come from the card, a bit of paper, it comes from spirit and how they talk to us.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in what spirit want you to know, or the spirits of the earth would like you to know, keep an eye on my Etsy shop, because that's the only place you can book a reading. But if you want to find my Etsy shop, I would say go through my website, have a read of everything I do, and then through the website it will give you a link to go onto Etsy. But you may also see something else you like on the website, and then you can send me an email and we can arrange and sort things out. And even if there isn't anything you do see and you think, oh, I wonder if she does that, message me, because chances are I do, but I don't advertise it a lot. So for example, grids and stuff like that, I don't advertise it, but it's things that I do.
Excellent. Yeah, so definitely get in touch if anybody wants to check something out. And also, again, going back to the Healing Hurt autumn special, to reach out to you if anybody's got questions about that, certainly. But fantastic deal. And it just, I can even just visualize in my third eye just those autumnal colors and being in the Healing Hut with the lights on, with the fire going and everything. It's just amazing. So self-love at its best. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Jess. I mean, Obviously we do communicate quite often anyway, but thank you for being on the podcast, because I want to try and get these back up and running. And if there's a certain topic that anyone wants to see discussed, maybe for me and Jess on a future one, then let us know. But we have also got our soul consciousness page and channel as well, so we've got the Instagram and the YouTube, and we're going to be trying to do more podcasts on there, aren't we, to go deeper into certain topics. So yeah,
down through rabbit holes.
Yes, going down through rabbit holes. So if that resonates for you, then obviously check us out, and I'll put a link to that also in the description box. But thank you so much, Jess, and thanks everyone for tuning in, and definitely get in touch with Jess about the Autumn Healing Hut deal that she has, and any other services. So